G'day everyone, Turbo Tristan here, back on the VL build. Today we have a whole slew of parts from Raceworks, including a Maradyne high performance thermo fan for the back there. We need all the space we can get. This guy is going to push all the CFMs. We've got some new tools, which I love, from Raceworks. My old ones were just some dodgy eBay ones, so getting rid of those, upgrading. Plenty of fittings to finish off the remaining lines here in the engine bay for fuel, oil and water. Turbo beanie, heaps of pipes. We're going to do the intercooler. We've got some fuel hose. We've got some heat wrapping for the hose. And we've got some hose for the catch can. All of that is going in the car today. And we've got hose clamps. We're all set to go. Hopefully I can get all of this buttoned up tonight. It's a weeknight, so hopefully just smashing things out, getting this done, ready for wiring, fuel, and first fire up. Stick around, we'll see how far we get. One thing that is synonymous with the VL Commodore is the front mount intercooler hanging way out the bottom, pretty much scraping on the ground. Now I've already gone ahead and mounted this one, and you can see here, there's the bottom of the bar, and we're only down maybe 25 mil, 30 mil at the absolute most, or 2.5 bars on the bar and plate cooler. I've pushed it up as high as it can go there, and I've made some nice solid brackets, really simple. I used some existing holes that were already there out of some nice strong steel. They're not the prettiest, but that isn't going anywhere. That shakes the whole car when you grab it. Plenty of room all the way around. It's not rubbing on anything. So the idea is to get the intercooler pipes tucked up as well. You can see here I've just got a silicone joiner on there, and it's only just slightly lower here, and we've got to get under the frame rail and then up to the turbo and to the throttle body. What I'm going to do first though is throw on the Maradyne thermo fan. Now these guys have been around for a while, very high performance, very well known. This one is a 14-inch 160 watt, and we're going to get this stuck on the radiator, which means just quickly pulling it out, mounting this guy up. Yes, ideally you do need a full fan shroud, and the reason for the fan shroud is it actually makes all of the air draw through the fan and cool everything on the radiator. This is going to be a cruiser. The front of these is nice and open, and it's going to be controlled by the Haltech. We'll get it to come on nice and early, keep everything nice and cool, and hopefully that will control all of our air intake temps. If not, we can easily put a shroud on it, but just for now, I'm not going to bother. I don't have shrouds on my Civic. I've got the same Maradyne thermo fans on there, and it does a fantastic job of keeping everything cool, never goes above 90 degrees Celsius, so we're going to do that. Same deal here on the VL. The reason why we've got to put this on first is to make sure we have enough clearance for all of these pipes to fit, and then we can get running intercooler pipe. Jump ahead, I've put the fan onto the radiator, and I just need to get those pull through fan mounts, those securing, you know, they're like zip ties, but they go on here, so I need to get some of those. I'll pick some of those up from probably Burson or Autobahn tomorrow, and I'm actually going to create a new radiator hose out of there. I'll use some of this and some alloy pipe from Raceworks. I'll go grab some tomorrow and make my own alloy radiator pipe, just like I did in my Civic out there. I'm really excited. I'm starting to feel like I'm on the home stretch now. Couple of fittings, couple of fuel lines. I've got to throw in the fuel pumps. There's 2 of them, both from Raceworks. Some fuel hose, run a couple of lines for the auto transmission, and put the Haltech in with the plug and play loom. Hopefully there's not too much wiring for that, because as I always say, I suck at wiring, so I'll probably get Logan to come and help me with that one. And then it's pretty much ready to fire up. So pretty G'd, couple of weeks away at absolute most, maybe a week if I can get my stuff together and get the exhaust materials sorted in the next couple of days. I'll do that over the weekend, make an exhaust. We could be a couple of days, couple of weeks away from getting this thing running and dosing hard. The radiator fan is mounted. I've got these little tabs that didn't come with it. They're from Burson, and they just like a zip tie, but they keep the fan on there. So I'm going to stick that back in the car now. You can see I've already done a little bit of the intercooler piping, but I can't finish it until that is back in the car. So just finalizing all the Dash 6 water lines using all Raceworks fittings. Of course, one thing that I really like to do is use some of this heat sheathing. So it's silicone on the outside, fiberglass on the inside, nice and splintery. But once you put it on, awesome, you don't have to worry about heat melting or damaging your really nice braided lines, and it's real simple to use. You just pick the correct size and slide it over. Now we have a completely heat shielded water line for the turbo. So I'm going to stick that on. I've already got all the other ones on. I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. Check this out, really proud of my no holes intercooler kit that I made, all custom, DIY with all Raceworks parts. Just a matter of having a bead roller and a 4-inch grinder and some silicone and some alloy, and you can make your own no holes intercooler kit. Now, runs down the side, underneath, I'll show you it from the underside soon, through the intercooler, back up another 180, 90, 90, straight in. We've got the fuel system all plumbed up now, Dash 6 lines all the way in and out. The fuel reg is all plumbed up as well. All of the turbo oil, drain, water, in and out lines are all done. They're all heat sheathed with the Raceworks silicone and fiberglass heat sheathing. We also have the Raceworks turbo beanie is on there as well, just to keep all the heat away from my nice new paint job. I don't want it to melt this, I don't want it to melt that. I also don't want to heat up the oil, cook the water lines, and just keep all of the heat away from the engine, because this is where it's going to build up the most. Last thing to do in the engine bay is the downpipe and also the catch can fittings. I still haven't decided where I'm going to mount that yet. I've got plenty of spaces around everywhere. I was thinking to hang it here in the front. This area is a bit crowded now. I could maybe even jam it in the back, but that's going to limit my access to the trans dipstick and also the engine dipstick. We want to make sure we check those regularly. So the other spot is somewhere over here. I don't want to put it in the back there, plus there's no room because it's near the heat. So I could make a little bracket off here perhaps and just hang it down in the front. There's room for that. So I'll just see how I go. I could also hide it underneath the engine bay down there in the wells, but probably don't want to do that either. So I'll keep scratching my head on that one. Now it's over to the fuel system. We've got everything laid out here that we will be using. So I have a Raceworks in-tank pump. That's an EFP 500. I believe this is around about 340 litres per hour, I think, don't quote me. And that's going to be replacing this tiny little lift pump that goes in the tank. So we're going to get rid of this, replace it with that. In my opinion, this would be probably enough for the power that this car will be making and all of that. But the VL has two fuel pumps, an external one. This is the one that makes all of the noise outside of the car. And every Commodore you hear whenever it's running, which is the external fuel pump, sits just near the fuel tank. And then there was some really weird adjustable fuel pressure regulator. I believe that's probably on the return side. I don't know why, but it was also near this pump. So yeah, I don't understand that. Doesn't make any sense. Bit old school. We have a Raceworks EFP 506. This is a massive pump. This is kind of like your Bosch 044, but this is a massive upgrade. 2 pumps, all of the fuel you're ever going to need. We're going to get rid of this pissy little 050 Bosch fuel pump. Over here on this hanger here is where the external fuel pump goes, so that runs in there. And then we have the smaller in-tank pump's going to live inside here, and we've got the return over this side. So I'm going to just replace all of those, stick everything in, use the original wiring just so we can get that running, and if we need to, we can always upgrade it. It's nice and simple to get to outside of the car. So I've managed to get the Raceworks pump on there. I've used a hose clamp to secure it. In the kit it came with a lot of insulating and some rubber, all that sort of stuff, so I used every single bit of it I possibly could. So I'm just going to leave that as it is, stick it in, button all that up, and then that section is done. Okay, chuck both the fuel pumps in. I can't actually run the fuel lines exactly how I want them yet, just purely because I didn't realize I needed a different fitting for there and a banjo fitting for here. Part of me is also thinking that maybe I take this fuel pump out and replace this one with like a 460 or a 525 and just have one pump running straight into the car like a regular Skyline or Silvia or JZ or anything that really has big power and a turbo that runs, yeah, normal fuel pump. So part of me is thinking that I just run one fuel pump like a normal car. Do I really need that extra one? Don't know. If I upgrade to like a Warbro 525 or something like that, or even bigger, that'll be enough fuel pump for everything. Run some bigger wires and should be good. I don't know. What do you guys reckon? VL guys, help me out. What do I do with that pump? As you can see, I've started making a downpipe just using the MIG. It's a bit slaggy, but that's what we're going to go with, being that we need to get this done, and this section will be all heat wrapped anyway. So MIG it up. I can get twice as much work done in half the time. I'll show you what it looks like up top. Here's everything that we've done in this episode, all complete here in the engine bay. Big shout out to Raceworks. Couldn't have done it without you guys. I've started running some of the Haltech sensors. I've got the wideband O2 down there. This will all be heat wrapped to match the turbo beanie. Otherwise, everything else is buttoned up. The radiator is full of coolant. The engine is full of oil. The power steering is full. The gearbox is as full as I can get it without having the car running yet. I can put fuel in the tank if I wanted to, but I'm going to leave that just for now. I've got enough of the exhaust run to start the car. It's just wiring, and I've got to sort out this throttle cable. This is a brand new RB30 VL throttle cable. I've done some mucking around. I need to make a little bracket here. I'm not too happy with how that's going to look. It's going to be pretty ugly. Again, I wish I had it in the budget to go drive-by-wire, but I just don't have the budget or the time. I need to get this thing finished, but I think you'll agree, what a beast of a street car this will be. The intercooler is pretty stealth as far as VLs go. Usually they're hanging out way down here, but this one is tucked up a fair way. Bonnet's on. I had to get my missus to come and help me with sticking the bonnet on, so shout out to her. But that's everything in this episode. Fuel pump, intercooler, all the fluids in, all the fittings done, fuel pressure reg done, dump pipe done, wideband in, fluids in. It's nearly ready. Don't forget, spool up, bring the boost, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.